Hello everyone, myself Kushi Ravia. Today's topic is a feminist reading of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This is my personal information. This is a table of contents. Introduction about Mary Shelley. She born in 30 August 1797 in London and died in 1st February 1851 in London. She was an English romantic novelist known as the author of Frankenstein. She also edited and promoted the works of her husband, the romantic poet and philosopher Percy Bysshe Shelley. Her father was the political philosopher William Godwin, and her mother was the philosopher and women's rights advocate Mary Wollstonecraft. Mary's mother died 11 days after giving birth to her. She was raised by her father, who provided her with a rich informal education, encouraging her to adhere to his own anarchist political theories. Information to Frankenstein. Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus, Gothic horror novel by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, that was first published in 1880. The epistolary story follows a scientific genius who brings to life a terrifying monster that torments its creator. It is considered one of the first science fiction novels, an international sensation. The story has been adapted hundreds of times in different media and has influenced pop culture at large. The female gender and its significance in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. In this essay, Vanitten explores critical issues to gender identify set within a parable of humanity's conformations and breaching of the limits of nature. Conventionally regarded as a conformist text to patriarchal themes, 10 offers new insights into Frankenstein's construction of gendered roles. Here, Shelley rears contemporary gender doctrine on its head, far from the caregiving and child rearing roles of women, thus limiting them to the sidelines of society. It is preciously their indispensability that situates them central stage. In the female gender and its significance, then elucidates a woman's elevation to parity with men's social roles, successfully setting the stage for the new woman to break out of her social imposed limiting confines. In Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, issues of gender identity are explored through the creation of an unnatural monster set in an otherwise idyllic society, with its central characters that exemplify by idealized gender roles of the time. The creation of Frankenstein's monster poses the critical question dealing with the social makeup of 19th century British society, particularly the unusual nature of the monster's birth as well as his subsequent expressions serves as a counterpoint to foreground at the significance of female gender roles in a British society, and ultimately suggests that far from being merely companions to men, women instead play a central role in contributing to the stability of the prevailing social order. Frankenstein and the feminine subversion of novel. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein has long been labeled a woman's book. Elon Morse describes Frankenstein as a female birth myth which depicts Shelley's ambivalence about motherhood. Kate Ellis interprets Frankenstein as a critique of the bourgeois family and the separation of male and female spheres. Sandra Gilbert and Susan Google write that the book describes a woman's helpless alienation in a male society. Mary Pooley calls in a myth of female powerlessness, which justifies the female writer's uncontrollable desire for self expression. All these interpretation rightly insist that Shelley is concerned about the position of women in a patriarchal culture, but their thematic emphasis does not enable you to see how the female themes of the novel are given a particular efficacy because Shelley's ability to subvert patriarchal narrative conventions. Shelley's text works to change structures of narrative as well as to introduce new topics of discussion. The novel is the genre most obvious in the service of social and material reality, necessarily recreates patriarchal culture and ideology. Nonetheless, it is the form to which women readers and writers have always been most devoted. This devotion is not surprising since feminine authority itself is deeply connected to the rise of the novel. Elizabeth as a feminist lens in Frankenstein. Elizabeth's role in the patriarchal structure, passive and idealized. Elizabeth is depicted as a angelic and domestic woman, reinforcing traditional gender roles. Possession versus autonomy. Victor describes her as a possession of my own, highlighting her lack of agency sacrificial role. Her death serves as a plot device for Victor's narrative, underscoring how women are often sidelined in male dominated stories. Feminist critique of Elizabeth's character. Lack of voice and agency. Elizabeth is largely defined by her relationship with men. Her thoughts, desire, and potential remain unexplored, reflecting how woman's individuality was suppressed. A contrast to female improvement. While Elizabeth embodies the ideal woman, Shelley juxtaposes this with the destructive outcomes of her powerlessness, perhaps advocating for greater female autonomy. Feminist readings highlight Shelley's critique of how women's societal roles can lead to tragedy. Conclusion. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein critiques the patriarchal structure and gender roles of her time by highlighting the marginalization and lack of agency offered to women like Elizabeth. Through characters who are confined to traditional roles, Shelley underscores the destructive consequences of a woman's powerlessness and their exclusion from intellectual and social spheres, making Frankenstein a subtly progressive work for its time. These are my references. Thank you.